You're listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden, and we are excited about today's guest. We are here with Harley Wallen, and we're talking about his award-winning film career. Stay tuned. Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more, www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.samiraentertainment.com. Hello, everyone. We are here with Harley Wallen. Yes? Wallen. Okay. I'm from Ohio.
The funny thing is, I knew this was going to happen the minute I made a movie with Sean Whalen. I knew this was going to happen. It was going to be Sean Wallen and Harley Wallen or
forever, right?
Like so
oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay. So you are a director and an actor. And
yes.
I'm super excited to have you here today. I hope you're doing good today.
I'm doing great. Thank you. How about you?
Well, it's been a little crazy this morning. I was telling you about that. So I'm like having to refocus, but we will get there for sure. So I wanted to talk to you about all of your films. And you have been directing quite a bit. I think you've directed more than 30.
I don't think I've directed more than 30. I think I am at 15 or something like that for directing.
Oh, wow.
But acting, I'm 40 something. Yeah. So I've been keeping busy.
Yes. So how did you get into this business and when did you get the bug? You're like, I got to do this.
So I'm born and raised in Sweden. And according to my mom, I was about 5 years old when I said I was going to move to America and become a movie star. So it started early.
Wow.
I didn't do a whole lot with that. So I started in martial arts when I was 7. I got pretty good. I ended up on the national team. I started breakdancing when I was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
And, I got pretty good at that too. And both of those things led me back to film and TV. My very first 2 things I did is I did a youth against violence film in Sweden based on the martial arts and everything and about not using your skills outside of the gym. And then I got put on a nationally syndicated TV show called Solstolarna. That was a big TV show for my breakdancing skills, but they allowed, one-liners and stuff like that to go to us.
Oh, nice.
So I got bit by the acting bug really bad then.
Wow.
And ever since, it's what I wanted to do. The directing came later. Michigan used to have really good film incentives, which is where I live now. And I had just started getting some big roles, or not big roles, but roles in big projects.
Right.
I had 2 scenes, 2 lines in Batman versus Superman. I was all giddy that things were going well.
Oh, that's cool.
It was, but then they cut the film incentives, and I said, who's going to make sure that anything of quality comes out of Michigan? We didn't have a very good indie community at the time. So that's where I started pursuing film school to learn the skills and the trade to make films.
Oh, wow. Wow. We're in the same boat because we're in Florida and we have 0 incentives. They still haven't brought it back. And there was a time where it was booming here, like Miami. I don't know how many TV shows came out of there.
Oh,
and, we do have a strong and growing indie film community here. How is that going in Michigan? Is it getting bigger?
Yes. It's funny because the indie film community seemed to thrive without incentives, which is kind of funny because when the incentives come in, what ends up happening is the guy that I now hire as a DP, he would get paid to be a second AC on a big set.
Right.
And he would get paid 3-4 times what I would pay him.
Right.
So they would disappear off the marketplace. And that's kind of where we are now, where, I think we as an independent community are all working together. When the incentives come, it tends to take a lot of our best, but they don't get to actually do the skilled positions. They get to do,
the supporting
the levels down. So, really.
Michigan brought back some, right?
The people around the people.
Right. Interesting.
Nope.
Do they have any incentives in Michigan?
0 incentives.
Gotcha. Just like Florida. Okay. Interesting.
Nope. Yeah, we're surrounded by states with incentives, and then we have Canada to the north with incentives. So it's really, really difficult. But for me, there are a lot of people that are in Michigan because of family and kids and whatnot that can't leave and go chase their dreams in Atlanta or wherever.
So they're staying
and I
put.
can hire them.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
that's
can
good
hire
then.
them. So that helps.
That is good then. So when you made your first film, what was it? What made you decide to make it, and how'd you feel about it?
So the very first film I did was a short film, and that was before I even attempted to do film school and stuff like that, because I thought that I was an actor who's really paying attention, on set. And I thought, I've seen what the directors do. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's not that easy.
No, what you don't see is what's really happening, right?
Yes. And you don't realize that all the prep is done before you get to set.
Yes.
So it looks so easy on set, but that's because you're prepared.
Right.
So that was a big learning curve. And then somebody told me about Rocket Jump, which I fell in love with.
A good resource.
Yeah, I mean, it's an online film school where you can study at your own pace.
Right.
So for someone like me who is dying for information, I love Studio Binder. I love
yes, me. I was the same way.
5-minute film school.
Yeah,
because you can learn so much so fast. So that was what got me excited, and I studied real hard. And then I had a mentor in Jerry Hayes who had directed several films that kind of showed me what the book knowledge essentially means on set, which really helped.
Real world, kind of a hands-on, in action sort of thing. Makes a big difference, right? Yeah. I love that.
Books can only teach you so much. The courses are very, very good, but until you do it, it's not the same thing.
Right. Do you have a favorite project you've done through the years?
That's like asking people for who's your favorite kid, I think.
For me, you love them all, but differently.
Yeah, definitely. I think my favorite project's always the next one.
Yes.
Or the one that I'm doing. So that's the biggest thing for me. I'm very much in love with whatever is in front of me, because the blessing to be working with my favorite thing in the world, it's a privilege. So I don't take that lightly.
Yes. That's actually really cool. What are you working on now? What do you have coming up?
So right now I feel like I'm juggling a lot of things. So we have a film releasing called The Devil's Left Hand. That's releasing in July. We're supporting the release of that. It's supernatural, thriller, demonic possession type of thing. And then we have my big film called Beneath Us All. And that's a vampire film with Sean Whalen, Maria Olsen, and Jan
What a
Birch.
great name, huh?
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really cool story. It's a vampire story, but we're rebooting the vampire origin to the Viking times. So we're giving it a kind of a fresh. Yeah, I thought that it would be a nice, fresh little feel for it. And we've gotten such a big release on that we're trying to just figure out how we are going to be supporting that launch. We just found out they're printing, 10,000 DVDs, and it's intercontinental theatrical between the US and the UK. So that one is getting me a little nervous.
Oh my God, exciting though. If people want to see your films or figure out where they all are, where should they look?
I would recommend probably search my name on Just Watch. I don't know if everybody's started using it yet, but
it's
Just
a great
Watch,
site. Yeah,
it is. And you can search a name or a title, and then you can literally just go down the rabbit hole and find everything by them. And it tells you everywhere where they're streaming, so you don't have to figure a whole lot out.
That's kind of cool. I discovered that too last year when one of my films released. I was like, what's this? And then I was typing everybody's name in the cast to see what they're all in. And it's very cool. Just Watch, everybody. Go there, find movies for I guess I should maybe spell your name then. Harley, Harley, and Wallen. And they can just search your name.
Yeah, Harley Wallen. And then we're negotiating right now on a true story. We did a film about domestic violence that was actually a true life case in Michigan. about a woman that went through hell.
Oh no.
And we got her rights to her story, and she actually co-produced it with us.
Oh
But
wow.
she was on Inside Evil with her case because, I mean, she literally had her ex try to hire people from the inside of prison to kill her and her kids. And it was such a crazy story. That film, I think, is going to be something pretty special.
Oh wow.
And to tackle domestic violence is something really important anyways, because I don't even know how we've come to a place where we are almost just pretending it's not a big deal.
Yeah, we ignore
is.
it. Yeah, I've witnessed that. It's shocking. It definitely is.
Yeah.
It's good to do these projects that have this kind of meaning and can leave hopefully an impression on people.
Yeah.
That makes them make changes for the better in their life, because they don't want to be that. They don't want to be that story, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
We're tackling it in the film from a legal perspective as well, so that you can see kind of how it plays out. And we're very, very true to her real life story. So,
oh, wow.
So you can see the cracks in the judicial system. Interviewing police officers when we were preparing to shoot this really helped me see, because a lot of them were referring to, they said family disputes, but I don't know how it's a family dispute if somebody gets a black eye and a bloody lip. And
it's not. It's not.
You know what I mean? That to me is not a family dispute. That is abuse, and that would be assault if it was out in the real world, and that would have been penalized anywhere else. And some of these cases that I've read up on, because we're actually working on writing another script for another story, but it's really wild to see what happens to the victims of domestic violence, because the average person has been hit 37 times before they say anything to anyone.
Oh my God. I did not know that. That's a terrible statistic.
It's terrifying.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
The thing that really hits home is 1 out of 3 women will be assaulted by an intimate lover in their lifetime. That's the one I can't get past. I have 3 daughters. So I have 3 daughters. That means one of them, statistically speaking, will be assaulted.
Through that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That to me is, I don't know how we ever became okay with those statistics, because we have to figure out a way to change this.
Yeah, it's definitely not acceptable. No. I admire that you're doing a movie like this, because those are also, as a filmmaker, probably really gut-wrenching to make, seeing that reality, right?
Yes, they are.
Oh my God.
Well, I grew up in that. So the reason I took that on to begin with was because I was a kid in a domestic violence house. So I lived with that. I grew up with a stepdad who, whether it was me or my mom or neighbors, or, he couldn't fight a fight he didn't want to fight. So
I've known a few people like that. Yeah. A little scary, and it's tough. And, I finished writing somebody's life story recently that it's very much like that. And in the end, she was kind of left on the street with nothing. But I know in the process of writing it, I had to step away sometimes, because I wrote it. She had a book out, so I was adapting her book and stuff. And I would just feel physically ill. It's just cruel.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for doing that. That's kind of amazing. And
Thank you. Yeah.
I always joke that I like killing people in my films, but in reality, these stories are so powerful, and they're not fictional. And that's the hard part, because you don't want anything.
They're scarier than the fake stuff sometimes.
They are. So are you guys filming that one right now, or is that one in post?
It's actually completed. I just got my 5.1 surround sound version of it yesterday. So it's just completed yesterday.
That's cool.
We have been negotiating on it while we were finishing, but we have some really interesting offers already on the film, and true stories right now are pretty hot anyways.
They are.
And this one was highly publicized because it was covered on Inside Evil with Chris Cuomo. They had a full episode dedicated. He came all the way up here to Michigan to report on it, because this guy tried to hire people from inside the prison that were getting out to kill his wife and kids. So it was such a big mess.
Wow. Yeah. How old was the child in the story? Was it a young one?
Well, so she has 2 boys, and they are now I think 18, 19, and 21, 22, something like that.
Okay.
So when this all
Wow.
happened, they were young teenagers. And I think he had his final sentence in 2014, but he was in jail before that.
Wow.
And broke his parole going after her and some other stuff. So I think he was in originally from 2012.
Oh,
wow.
And then, wow.
So, and now because of they're doing all these early releases, there's rumors about him getting out, which is terrifying because who knows if he has
still
changed
hold
at
that
all.
vendetta. Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean,
gosh.
if his life is over, then who's to say he's not going to see to it that their lives are over?
Yeah, like what does he have left to lose? Well, hopefully this movie will bring light to it and some protection to her because the story will be out there everywhere. But wow. So what advice would you give to somebody that maybe wants to jump into this career field?
I would first say do it for the right reasons. If you're trying to get famous, if you're trying to get rich, I would say skip it. There are far easier ways to get famous and rich. Choose a different path. But if you're doing this because you absolutely love to make films, maybe you love to give people pause and think, maybe you want to create moral dilemmas to make people spark dialogue, let those drive your journey as a filmmaker or as an actor. And don't worry about the things that are out of your control, because what's in your control is far easier to control. You can control your training. You know, in today's world, you can train yourself almost to become really good at a lot of things on YouTube, really.
Yes.
So train would be my number one thing. And then, you know, if you put the work in and you do things for the right reasons, good things will come. Talented people want to work with talented people. You know, it finds a way to attract all the things that you want. All you have to do is your part, but you have to be diligent and steadfast. This is one of them things that if you said, I want to play on an NBA team, I would say the same thing.
Yes.
It's not going to be easy, but you can do this, and you can do this as a hobby. You can do this for a living. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is have the right reasons, because this stuff can get pretty hard. Anybody who's a filmmaker know there is a slew of haters out there. Some actors that you didn't cast that took offense. Some filmmakers that think you're competing with them. And some people that are just mad because they can't do what you're doing. And they will beat you up. They will write nasty things. And they will be god awful. So you got to have thick skin and be able to realize that those are actually misguided fans.
It's not for the faint of heart, and it truly is in the end a labor of love.
Not.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you don't do it for that reason, you won't last.
No, that's so true. Do you have a favorite project you dream of doing in the future? You have like that one thing you're working up to?
So I think right now we are working on doing a sequel to Ash and Bone, which was such a big hit last year and still is this year somehow. So that one I'm super excited about because we were so tight on the budget on the first one. And to make a film on a very modest budget and to get a big worldwide release, to get it on Apple TV around the globe and all these crazy things that have happened is so motivating. So doing that sequel and having a little bit more money now to make it, you know, one of those rare films where the sequel is better than the original. That's the goal. Be a lot of fun.
That's kind of cool. Do you have like a dream celebrity you would love to work with and have in one of your films?
I have so many of those because I mean, I grew up on, you know, whether it's De Niro or Jodie Foster. But the De Niro, Pacino, the Denzel, you know, that era of actors is to me so incredibly golden. And you see the next generation now coming. I love all of it. I love people that dedicate themselves to their art and to their craft, that they give themselves, you know, completely to what they do. I admire that. You know, my favorite thing ever is being on set, especially as an actor, and they say cut and you have to go, whoa. Yeah, that's right. We're making a movie. Was really real. I lost track of everything. I was so present in it that it became real in the heat of the moment. And the only natural thing to come out of my mouth were the lines that I prepped. And it's that whole thing of going through it. And that came to life. And each time that happens to me, I want more and more of that. But I believe that is that secret that you see on the screen when you see some of these giants lay down performances. I think they lose themselves. You know, obviously you are aware that you're being filmed and that it's not real, but you can suspend a lot of that and go through it to whatever degree to make it feel very real. And I think when it's really real to the people in the scene, then the audience will feel all of that as well.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing. And you are having quite a year with all of these films that you're completing, coming out. I'm amazed. It's really cool. So before we wrap up, tell us again where everyone can find you on like social media or your website. Where would you like people to go to kind of look you up and learn about your films besides just watch?
Yeah, so I would say, you know, on virtually all social media, you can follow me. It's Harley Wallen, HarleyWallen. And I am on all of it. I don't have anybody running these things for me. So when you interact with me. I unfortunately can't quite keep up with inboxes because I don't have people working on this. And I would literally have to spend all day.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. Nope. You got to make movies, right?
Yes. No, it's funny because my friends say you finally get to find out what it's like to be a hot girl. And I said, you know, that is really funny, but it's probably true. But yeah, that's probably the inbox of an attractive woman.
It's a little too full.
Looks like. Right?
And it's probably better you don't answer them back if that's true.
That too.
That is too funny.
But I am very responsive in comments on anything on my social media. So when you follow, wherever you follow, it's me, and I am socially very interactive. So please follow and hang out. I am also the kind of person that takes my films to a lot of film festivals. So I go with my film and rep my film. We do some of the horror cons and stuff like that.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
And I'm very interactive on those things as well. And I'm not afraid to go out there and mix it up, have a good time with my audience. And the thing too to remember is, you know, at the end of the day, anybody watching my films is such a blessing because there's so many things that they could have watched instead.
Yes,
they somehow chose mine. And it's not the biggest budget. I don't have the biggest stars. So the fact that they're giving that attention to me, I don't take any of that for granted. So I'm very grateful.
And heart. And I imagine they're made very well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I really tried to make my movies with love because that is the truth. I do love the craft of filmmaking and the art of it all. And I think acting is such a bottomless cup. And I think as an actor, you learn so much about yourself being somebody else because you get perspective and you have to see life from a completely different perspective.
That is so true. Yeah. If you had to choose.
In Ash and Bone, I play.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying in Ash and Bone, I play a character who is a father of a teenage girl. And this guy is really passive aggressive. And he's so afraid of making a mistake that he almost doesn't do anything. And it causes a lot of problems. And I'm not like that. But it was really funny to play that because I can certainly understand now how some people do things that way because they're terrified and they work out of fear of screwing things up, of making a mistake, and it's crippling and it's something that almost controls them. And I would have never really understood that if I didn't play that role because that guy is scared stiff. He's just not wired at all. I mean, I'm a retired professional fighter. I was on the national team in judo and taekwondo.
Wow.
I'm not a very passive guy. I'm not like somebody that's afraid of interacting with people or feel like a victim.
You
so
engage.
To play a guy that yes.
But
you
don't watch.
To play somebody who's very different. You learn a lot.
Yeah. You know what? If you had to choose between acting or directing, do you have one passion over the other?
So acting I think you really get to be somebody else. And I think that is almost impossible to beat. But to build an entire story and to create every little character arc for every scene and to assemble that to make an arc for the film and to have a cohesive story, that's unbeatable for me. On the very last film I did, I stepped down kind of, a couple of weeks before we started filming from a bigger supporting role to a one scene role that I actually ended up cutting in Finding Nicole. So I'm not actually in it at all. So I guess I have already to some degree chosen directing, but I think it's two different things. It's like saying, if you could only have lunch or breakfast, it's like, yeah, you know what? That's a tricky question.
Like, which one is the sweetest? Who knows?
Yeah.
I would die if I had to make that decision, but there is something about directing because in a way you are every character as a director.
Yes. So the beauty of it is, imagine making a vase. So you put your clay on that spindle thing and you start doing that. But instead of using just your hands, you're using essentially 100 different pairs of hands. And you have to make the vase by telling all these people your vision for the vase. And they have to decide, how much am I going to squeeze? How much am I going to push? How much? You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do we do it together?
And you're never going to get it to become, yes. And how do I become collaborative enough that they feel that they have creative input without wrecking the vase?
Right.
It's such an incredible thing. That directing a film is far more complicated than most people think.
There's a lot of balance.
Oh, yeah. And there's so many things to think about. And I think most people, when you start directing, you realize that you probably thought you knew way more than you knew when you started. And then slowly but surely, you learn a ton. And as you learn a ton, you start realizing how little you know.
I love that. It's so true.
Yes.
It is so true.
The opposite of Dunning-Kruger,
That is crazy, but true. So true. Yeah. Well, you have been awesome to talk to. Your movie coming out next month was The Devil's Last Hand?
The Devil's Left Hand.
Left Hand. And that is out in July.
It's going to be out in July. We really frustrated because we normally get a little bit more time, and he said it'll come out the second week. And I don't know, because some of these outlets, they put them out on Fridays, some of them put them out on Tuesdays. And my distributor hasn't given me a final date, and we are
probably get it on Monday
away from this thing. Hopefully I get that is what I hope. But we're really excited. We have a lot of outlets picking it up. So, between Tubi and Vudu and Amazon and Freevee and Redbox.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be
That's
a
very
pretty
cool.
Full release. Yeah.
That is a big one.
We're really excited about that.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you have a lot going on. I'm so glad you took time to talk to me today, but I know you need to get back to work. So if you're ready, we're going to do our 5 for 5, and I'm going to ask you 5 goofy questions.
Let's do it.
Okay. The first question, what is your favorite food?
Oh, I think if I had to pick, I would go to Morton's and I would have some Redskin potatoes, zip sauce, some asparagus, and a filet mignon.
Oh, a whole meal. That sounds good. That is good.
That would be my jam.
I love it. Okay. After a long day on set, what's your favorite thing to drink?
Oh, here's the thing. The biggest treat I can do is 2 ice cubes and a nice whiskey. That'll hit the spot every time. I sit down with a shot list for the next day and I review what we did today. And that whiskey, that's usually, I save that one for, because we usually shoot 5 days on, 2 days off. So the 5th night in a row,
you have that whiskey.
The whiskey night.
Very nice. Kind of chill and enjoy. Okay, so what is something you have dreamed of doing, but you haven't done yet? Non-movie related.
So I have a couple of things. So I'm gonna non-movie related. So the first thing is, I was doing martial arts for so long, and I had a couple of invites to go with the national team on training camps to Japan, and I never took them up on it because I was so busy competing. I would love to go visit the Kodokan in Japan and to see the origins of judo.
Oh, wow.
And I would love to see, maybe a fight with Fight League Ryzen in Japan. That would be really cool.
That would
to
be
experience
cool.
that.
I love that. That is kind of cool.
I'm a big time traveler, so the fact that I haven't been to Asia yet kind of gets to me because I've been spending so much of my life.
Well, what are you doing, man? You're busy.
I know. I got to
stop working. Go to Asia.
The time.
You'll get there. You will. You'll get there. So, okay. What's your favorite song to sing at the top of your lungs when you're driving in the car?
Oh, I think if anything, Stones or Beatles, I'll probably be making a lot of noise. I love all the 80s music. To me, it's
perfect, isn't it?
It is. I feel like there was a time and place where race and age and sexual orientation, none of those things mattered. It was
just music, right?
We were it was just music. And I remember, seeing people of all ages and races and sex wear, Def Leppard, stuff, and going to Michael Jackson concerts. And a lot of things didn't seem to matter as much then.
Yeah.
And we were just little more laid back or something.
Yeah.
Happy.
I was in high school in the 80s, and I miss those days a lot. The music was awesome. So, okay, last question. Yeah. What was your favorite or what is your favorite movie?
Oh, so the one that always pops up for me is The Usual Suspects.
Okay.
Because I am the guy who will, I saw The Sixth Sense, and sorry if I spoiled this for anybody, but you should really have watched it already, so it's not my fault.
Right.
But I knew immediately he was dead. It was so obvious to me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even understand people that didn't see it. So normally I catch all of it. And there are a couple, like Inception, I thought was just revolutionary because of how that layered in my mind.
Yeah.
And then you have Identity with Cusack, which I just love that one. But the one that always comes out is The Usual Suspects because they tricked me.
Right.
And when they finally showed who Kaiser Soze was, I was like, no way. And then I watched it again and I see that they actually laid out breadcrumbs the whole way.
Oh, wow.
You just have to be very, very sharp. So that is my favorite movie because of how skillfully they did it. Because it's easy to trick me if you never give me hints. But if you give me tiny, small hints, and I didn't grasp it because I was so lost in the story, that's incredible skill.
That's definitely, and for filmmakers not to know means it was a good movie. So that is so awesome. How that is. I have had fun talking to you today. I hope you'll come back when your next movie gets ready to release and talk to us. And we both won't have had such busy, crazy time. It was a day. But thank you so much. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye, Harley.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Bye.
Today's show is sponsored by Gym Kitty, helping women on their health and wellness journey by providing high-quality, organically sourced vitamins and supplements. Visit them today at www.gymkitty.net. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast has been sponsored by Samara Entertainment.